Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. It's time now to review headlines from today's newspapers with the Ombudsman of This Day and Arise Media Group, who is also This Day Newspaper Limited's Group Executive Director, Kayode Komolafe. Good morning, KK.
Good morning, Adefemi.
Good morning.
Good morning,
KK.
Steve.
You're welcome.
Good morning, OJ.
Good morning, KK.
Yeah.
All right, we start off the Sunday tonic with This Day, as usual. And the lead story here says Southern PDP governors insist on zoning presidential ticket to South. And the riders reject 37-man committee's report. Southeast presidential aspirants unite, demand ticket for zone. Under that is a story, of course, that touches everybody. And I believe that, KK, you must be feeling it. I'm not sure about Oji and Adefemi. Grid collapses. Federal government to fast-track acquisition of SCADA SCADA system. That's on page 6. The grid, I think, is the third.
Within 3 weeks? No.
Yes, the third time in a month.
Yeah.
You know, it has collapsed again. I believe there's a minister. He's not been saying much if he's there. Maybe he's on leave or something. We proceed with the story. The story is on the cover of This Day. Ahead of his declaration for 2023 presidency, Osinbajo meets APC governors today. Interestingly, we have 3 cover pictures. I'm not sure if I've seen these like in a long while, but 3 cover pictures. The one in the middle is that of Amechi's former governor of Rivers State, and the Minister for Transportation declaring his candidacy yesterday in Port Harcourt. That's one picture. And then Naira Rain from Globacom. That's the other picture. And on top, I believe that's a social function. Nigerian Governors Forum, Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi.
The wedding of Governor
Okowa's daughter. Yeah. Exactly. So basically 3 stories on the cover of This Day, but without a doubt, 3 strong stories touching on politics and the collapse of the national grid. KK.
The lead story of This Day on Sundays is quite in the season, you know, it's politics now.
Yeah.
But in looking at it, I like to look at it in conjunction with another story on the front page of This Day, and that is the story of the collapse of the grid. It is interesting that we are talking of the choice of a president, you know, in less than a year from now, and we're having problems, issues not invented. You know, it's not based on imagination that people are grappling with day to day. You know, apart from insecurity, the other issue is this power issue, and that nobody is talking about it. In the criteria, you know, set so far, you know, for choosing the president, you know, the perspective, you know, the solution, you know, of any aspirant, you know, to this power problem, you know, is not featuring, you know. In another climb, it will be now that you say that, okay, this candidate is because he has this strong position on how to solve, you know, the power issue that will make some people to prefer him, you know, to another candidate beyond, you know, being a southern candidate or a northern candidate, you know, whatever. Because essentially what we have in the power sector is that we have a failed privatization project, you know, and that when you imagine that this country embarked on power sector reform more than 20 years ago, you know, that have been on it, you know, and of course the privatization, you know, actually took place in 2013, and up to now, you know, the story, you know, is about darkness, you know, more of darkness, you know, and less of light, you know, in that sector. So it's very important that, you know, while politicians, you know, are having their very strong positions, you know, legitimately on, you know, power rotation of where the president should come from, you know, I mean, the public, you know, should also insist that they should also address these issues, you know. Even at this stage, that people are aspirants, you know, they should be associated with some of these issues, that will know what their positions are, you know, on security, on power supply, you know, and the rest of the rest of it, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, before we step too far,
Yeah.
there is This Day Style that we're here to discuss too. And on the cover of This Day Style is Christine Doja Otedola at 90. Lady Christine celebrated her 90th birthday last Sunday with a beautiful party, as is featured in Ekwe in Lagos State. Our very own OG was in attendance.
Yes, I was.
Tell us about it. How was it?
It was a beautiful party. I mean, I really enjoyed the fact that, she's 90 and she looks amazing.
Yes.
Well, I went for the reception. I didn't go for the church because obviously I was here with you, Steve. But, I walked into the party and there they were, Femi and his mother dancing. It was such a beautiful sight to behold. I mean, the dignitaries were all there.
Yes, they were.
Even Chairman and Duka Baigbena attended was
He's
there.
captured in a picture here too.
And the Lagos State governor. There were a lot of people that attended the ceremony. I thought it was beautiful. Yeah. Congratulations to her.
Big
Congratulations to
I think
Femi
she looks good
as well.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes.
Good for 90 and she danced to her granddaughter's music.
Yeah,
that was lovely.
And that's DJ Copy.
Yes,
and there were 3 of them that performed. I see 2 of them that performed.
Yes,
I think there's two of the Otedola girls are musicians as well.
Yes, and one is an actor model.
Yes, Temi. Yeah, fantastic actor actually in Citation and the likes.
Yes.
If you do pick up the cover of This Day, there's also a write-up on Lady Christine herself.
Yeah.
And it's actually really beautiful. It talks about her early life. It shows pictures from the 30s, the 40s, all the way through to the 70s, just to underscore her very obviously long and successful life. She was married to the former governor of Lagos State.
Former First Lady,
Former First Lady of this very state here.
The cover is very artsy without dark black. I mean, it's arty.
But also This Day Style, they're very, very. They don't call them This Day Style for nothing. But yeah, their write-ups always interesting to read. So this isn't one that's any different. But yeah, beautiful.
Well, I
big
hope
happy
that I look
birthday.
like that at 91st.
Come on, did you say standing up and dancing? You better.
Yes, her dance moves. And it appeared that she was even teaching Femi how to dance. It was that beautiful. Yes.
It doesn't look like dancing is one of the strongest points of the billionaire son.
Did you see that video that was trending where he was dancing with his daughter?
At the party?
No, there was an old video where he was dancing.
I thought
I thought that's where you got that from.
That was just a humorous thing.
Very cute. I mean, there it is. Look at her. Look at this woman. She is beautiful.
Wow,
and so regal. I mean, let's look at that for a quick second.
Lovely.
Grace.
Was DJ Copy going to offer a gelato or something?
And then she goes, "Who's your daddy? Otedola." That's what's happening there. Yes, that's what's happening there. It's really nice. What can we say? Congratulations.
Very, very nice.
Congratulations being in order.
Yes,
once more. Yeah.
All right.
We wish Mama happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy 90th. Should we move over to the Daily Trust now?
Daily Trust.
Yes, the lead story there. Humanitarian crisis worsens in Niger as IDPs troop to state capital. I mean, we're hearing these stories over and over again, how these IDP, crisis. This is the Daily Trust. The Daily Trust, if we can pull that up, where the lead story there about the humanitarian crisis worsening in Niger state as IDP. I mean, this is the state, the same state where they say that the Boko Haram has, put up their flag. Is that correct?
In some local
in some local government
areas,
collecting taxes and all of that. It's such a sad situation. We can read more on that on page 4. Another story there. There's a chart. How fire wrecked 700 shops, killed 19 in 3 months. Now let's go over those. Really sad. Over 25 markets gutted by fire. And we've had 53 cases. This is from January to March. We've also had, like they mentioned, 700 shops affected and 19 people killed. We can read more on that on page 8 of the Daily Trust. Another story there, Nnamdi Kanu, to be tried on 7-count charges as court strikes out 8. And then obviously we'll take our story that we do every weekend, every Sunday, the amount of days our school children have been held in captivity by these terrorists. These children are from the Bethel Baptist High School in Kajuma, 280 days and counting. I was saying last week, if they were going to add these missing people from the Kaduna-Abuja train attack that occurred 2 weeks ago, over 100 people are still missing. Really. Oh. Over to you.
Yeah, the humanitarian dimension of the crisis, is not getting the due, attention, because we are busy counting. We're still busy trying to do the count of, the count of the casualty, how many people are kidnapped, how many people are killed. But even for those who have survived, who need care, who need water, who need food, who need basic housing, children, that need, basic medical care, in the IDP, the care is not there. And this trend that Daily Trust has reported is a very dangerous one. That now you have a movement now of the displaced people, who are supposed to be settled in the various ID camps, in the local government areas, now moving to the state capital, So before you know it, even the state capitals, will become overwhelmed, as a result, of the spreading, of the crisis. And I think this should be, a wake-up call, to the authorities, that the humanitarian dimension of this crisis, should be addressed. The care of those who have been displaced, those who have been, wounded, should be given adequate security. And of course, like you said, it's again, a chilling reminder that those children today they are 281 days, in captivity, and it will also be tragic if we now, begin another grim count of the number of days of the victims of the Abuja Kaduna train attack. Now, we'll be talking of more than 10 days now that are being committed, and you are talking of over 100 people, yet unaccounted for, And even the precise figure, part of the national shame is that we don't even have the precise figure because it depends on who is talking. I've heard of figures of 139, 143, and the rest. Whereas the serious thing to say is that you still have more than 100 human beings, missing. Yeah.
Well, I think that was a story from yesterday. Do you have more stories?
Yeah, so that is why I said that it's actually for the children in captivity today is actually 281 days.
Yes. Okay, so we move on to Sunday Punch. The lead here says ex-generals demand crackdown as terrorists kill over 700 soldiers in 18 months. And the riders seek high-powered probe, ask troops to be alert, say soldiers killing by insurgents unacceptable. AGF office keeps mum over terrorism financiers' identity. I think that's an important story, but there are a couple of other politically related stories. One on page 7 says 3,132 aspirants pick PDP forms. Party makes 9.2 billion naira. Of course, we have a story on Amechi's declaration. I have enough experience to lead Nigeria, says Amechi. Ngige says he's consulting. Bello vows to defeat all. Okay. I'll succeed Buhari, Bakari boasts. So apparently, Pastor Bakari too has declared. But an interesting one on the window there, I wouldn't have agitated if Nigeria were like Benin Republic. That Sunday Igboho saying that, I don't know what to make of it, but, Nigeria were to be like Benin.
Wasn't it where he was captured? Is that
that's where he's still
incarcerated?
He's still there,
so
he's just out of prison
Maybe
now.
he's just used to the smooth roads and the orderliness and I don't know.
From prison?
Okay.
Okay, since we're doing that.
Did we discuss Amechi's story at all?
It's actually a video. That story is taken from a video.
He gave an interview on his time in prison.
Having a chat with Professor Akintoye and Professor...
He's still making videos while in captivity?
Yes.
Okay, last but not the least, that I think you might want to touch on, why Rivers workers will not support Wike's presidential ambition That's Itubo, who's the NLC chairperson. That story is on page 12 of today's Punch. So, interesting stories here and there on the cover of Punch.
So let's merge the lead story of Punch with the lead story of the Guardian. You know, because they're addressing the same security issues.
That's correct. Oh, those are all the general.
Yes. The lead story of the Guardian is that while terrorists overwhelm security agencies, and there is one point that we should always stress, that while we are critical, of the security and defense authorities, in terms of the performance, of the agencies, in trying to combat insecurity, we must always give due acknowledgement, to the sacrifice, of soldiers or policemen, because in the last a few weeks, the number of soldiers and policemen that have been killed, So the men, they are actually on the free, a lot of sacrifice, and people are paying, the supreme sacrifice, to keep us, secure, So that much should be. While we feel so worried, so disturbed, about the worsening insecurity, at the same time, the gallantry, of really the men, on the field, should always be acknowledged, because a lot of security agents, policemen, soldiers, have been, killed, wounded, and a lot of them are in the hospital. But then, what the story speaks to, is something that should attract, the attention of the authorities.
That's right.
Because we are talking of, the failure of intelligence. Yes. We are talking of the poor interagency collaboration. And the most, strange, of all is that for a country where you have unemployment problem, you have a youth, responding that part of the problem, which some of the experts, especially ex-generals, are pointing to, is that there is the manpower problem.
That's right.
That is that you don't have enough boots, on the ground. The same thing has been said of the police, that the country is under police. That that when you look at the police, ratio, to the population, the soldier, the members of the armed forces, the proportion to the population that is very low,
But,
so I think
we have less than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
One, at least, maybe potential commander-in-chiefs might be in an Amici or a Bakari or an Ngige that is consulting. I thought you might want to touch a bit on those who are aspiring, who have declared now, in relation to the major challenge of the insecurity.
Yes, yes, it's important you have drawn attention to that. Especially, I'm not sure if Pastor Bakari is a member of APC, but I know, no, it's part of my ignorance, but I know Dr. Ngige, the Minister of Labour, and Right Honorable Shibuki Amici, they are members of APC. Given the entry, of more aspirants, into the race, it just shows that for APC, it will be very difficult to have a consensus candidate, because you are having very strong, very formidable. For instance, the declaration, in Port Harcourt, yesterday of Amici, very remarkable, and particularly the statement, he made a very, good statement. I particularly underline the fact that it was very charitable. I like the aspect that he acknowledged, the role of Dr. Peter Odili in his life, the role of the former governor to Ada George, and several others. They try to trace his life history and using that as a justification for, as he put it, his preparedness, that is qualified, for the job. So I'm saying that, given the array of formidable aspirants, into the race, whereas APC was able to have a consensus as chairman, I think for the presidential candidate, it might be a tall order to have a consensus candidate.
Look forward to all of that. Well, thank you very much.
We see how it goes. They will pick their forms, and then by June 3rd, in the very latest, we will know who will, fly the flag of the party.
And that will make things to crystallize better, on the political horizon.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr.
All right, thank you so much,
See you
KK.
next week.
Thank you so much, as always. And that brings us to the end of the morning show today. Thank you for watching. Do stay safe. I'm Steve Ayorinde.
And I'm Adefemi Akinsanya.
And I'm Oji Okwe from our entire team here in Lagos, Nigeria. Enjoy the rest of your morning and, of course, the rest of your day. Goodbye.